Welcome back, everyone. It's time for our second SPL match of the night. We're going into ST-Yoe, as you can see over there on the right side. Battling here against CJ Entis, their first time facing each other. Here's a CJ Entis team in their very fancy jackets. I actually really like these jackets.
I love the gray color. It's actually one of my favorite colors. I'm not depressed. Trust me, it's just a good color, especially looking at these guys. I like the white fur as well. And they've got a really strong lineup. They've had it for a while. They've had Hero and ByuL, and now they're starting to add more and more players to that lineup. And over here we got ST-Yoe Flash Wolves.
Yep. Anyway, narrowly getting a win in their last match, the +1 indicator. And you can see that Legend has been very stressed out, actually, about running this team. You can see, you know, those players trying to do well in SSL as well has been pretty stressful for him. But there's the handshake there for our first match, ByuL versus Hack. Feels like we've taken basically a time machine here to have these two players play against each other. You know, these two guys very good in Wings of Liberty. And, of course, ByuL actually very good in Pro League last year, but is in a bit of a slump, which is why he's going to have that downward arrow we're going to take a look at in just a moment.
Yeah, but first we got the team huddle. CJ Entis known for being a very brotherly team. That CJ Entis coach Park, very much a father-like figure. Really cool to see that. As well as ST-Yoe Flash Wolves, kind of a newer team coming in here, also showing some brotherly love. We're getting the pat arm before going into the booth. Make sure they don't have any mechanical objects, no cell phones, no nothing.
Yep, just making sure nobody's cheating. Nobody would ever do that. Well, there's a shot of life, and Lenok, two of the best Zergs. Lenok dyeing his hair again, and there's Legend on the right side. What was that noise? Is that you?
No, man.
Bruiser made a weird noise in the headset, I think. I don't know. Scared me, man. Okay. All right. All right, let's talk lineups. ByuL versus Hack. ByuL on a bit of a rough time. Hack, he's got that sideways arrow. He pretty much always does. He's a good all-around player. Hero with the upwards arrow. This guy, one of the best players in the world, is going up against Curious, who at a time had excellent ZVP, was really good in the late game, but these days still, you know, not quite on the same level as Hero. ByuL will play against Life, and Life, after crushing Flash, man, definitely on the up arrow, and also just looking really strong to be one of the best Zergs in the world. And last but not least, Sky High, who was on the up and up, especially showing great TVT in the Hot 6 Cup, has to play against San, who's also been having a rough time. He got 3-0'd in the SSL. That's where that downward arrow comes from.
Yeah, at least those two guys will be playing on Dead Wings. Sean should be a bit more comfortable with that. Life, I feel like if he wins today, someone hand that guy an upwards red arrow, because this guy definitely will be on the up and up. Other matchups up here, I feel like ByuL, if he comes through, could play pretty well, but Hack, pretty good Terran as well.
Yep. So our last match of the night, we're going to go into this interview. We're talking to the coaches, probably starting with the CJ coach, Coach Park. Well, the fans are actually saying that ST-Yoe has the best Zerg lineup. Well, the CJ Entis coach was saying, like, oh, do you think so?
ST-Yoe 팀 자체 저그 라인 개인적으로 대기실에서는 그렇게 반응을 했지만 굉장히 특색 있고 강력한 선수.
So even though I question their Zerg lineup, they're actually very strong, especially Life
이동영 선수나
and Lenok.
저희 특히 그 아마추어 연습생 시절 때 변영봉 선수가 변영봉 선수의 코치였던 이용표 선수나 굉장히 다양하게 이렇게
Curious is actually the coach of Hush in the past. I believe is a player he's talking about.
팀이 아닐까 생각하고 있습니다.
그러면 말씀을 길게 해주셨는데 저그라인
So they have, you know, some pretty unique characteristics and some strong Zerg players.
돌려 말하신 것 같아요.
아니 사실 그 저그 라인 자체는 최강인데 프로리그는 다르죠. So
even though their strong lineup is from individual leagues really well, it doesn't actually look like it's a lineup that's good in Pro League, because Pro League's a completely different type of tournament.
우선 CJ 팀 자체가 너무 강팀이기 때문에 저희 지금 선수들도 너무 많이 긴장했고.
He says the CJ team is a very strong team.
다르게 오늘 되게 많이 긴장을 하더라고요.
And the players on StarTale are actually pretty nervous today to face up against CJ.
사실 제가 생각했던 시나리오는
And seeing the players being nervous, even I myself am a little bit nervous.
너무 지금
Get a hold of yourself, legend.
그럼 다음 질문 넘어가겠습니다. 이승현 선수가 그랜드 파이널 우승을 하고는 더 많은 주목과 관심을 받고 있습니다. 근데 프로리그에서도 원탑
After winning the grand finals life,
승현이가 블리즈컨 이후로 성적도 되게 좋아지고 각종 대회에서
Talking about his BlizzCon performance, of course.
오늘
He's doing well after the grand finals.
되게 승현이도 되게 긴장을 하더라고요.
In every tournament he's played in after the finals.
뭐 테란 최고인 정호용 선수.
And going up against CJ Entus, even Life himself is a bit nervous. They have very strong Terran players on CJ.
얘기를 하더라고요. 그래서 그게 저한테 떡을 먹으라는 건지 아니면 상대방한테 준다는 건지 저도 지금 되게 개인적으로 많이 궁금합니다.
One of the CJ Entus players actually told him that they're giving out rice cakes as a New Year's present. He's not sure if that's because they're sorry because they're going to win today, CJ Entus, or just because of New Year's.
팬분들께 한 말씀 부탁드릴게요.
네, 그 팬들의 사랑은 아주 정말 대단한 것 같습니다. 저희 뭐 생일도 사실 기억하기 힘드실 텐데 그 데뷔 2000일까지 그 기억을 해서 이렇게 챙겨주신 것 자체가 굉장히 놀랍고 즐거운.
So he's saying thank you to the fans to remember all the anniversaries and birthdays of his players.
2000일을 넘어 3000일로 가고 있는데 그 3000일로 가기 전까지 그동안에 해왔던 업적보다 최선을 다해서 더 잘할 수 있도록 하겠습니다. 네, 감사합니다.
네. 그럼 ST-Yoe도 질 수 없죠?
So
팬분들께 한 말씀
it's actually one of the anniversaries of one of his players, which is Hero, of course. Those guys didn't know that.
예전 스타텔보다는 멤버 수도 줄고.
So we're saying thanks for the players who are cheering for that player. He wants to, continue his career and become a better player.
남자들밖에 없겠구나 생각했는데 여성분들이 되게 많더라고요. 그래서 그거에 대해서 너무 감사하게 생각하고 뭐 남성분들이 뭐 꼭 안 왔더라고.
StarTale coach is saying that he expected a lot of male fans for his team, but there are actually a lot of female fans for his team, and he says he's very thankful for those female fans, and he's received a lot of presents as well, and so he wants to show a lot of great matches for the fans.
These two coaches actually look like they have totally different styles, but they both look like very handsome, and you could just see the personality in those coaches just by looking at both of them on stage, compare them to each other.
Look at that strawberry cake, man. That should be your favorite.
I hate fruit, but it's Heroes 2000th day of playing. One of these other holidays that's just kind of not really a thing, but it is a thing if you're a crazy, fangirl and you love this guy. And so obviously the CJ fans made this together for him. They also gave us some treats as well. It's a big day for those CJ fans, as Hero, of course, is right now their top player and had an incredible record, tied with SOS and the most winning player for the most wins.
Yeah. Funny how, both of those super happy, positive Protosses were the two most winning players of last season in Pro League. Would not be surprised to see both of those two players up there on the winnings rankings. Maybe not first and second once again, or tied for first, rather. But I'm sure they're going to be up there. Two very strong players on two very strong teams.
Yep. And really curious to see how Hero is going to play today. He's got that slightly upwards arrow, but not completely upwards, but he wants to turn it, of course, all the way north with his play today. But just hearing from those two coaches, everything seems like they respect each other really well. Not a whole lot to gather there from those two interviews, except there's a lot of female fans for the StarTale team.
Yeah, interesting. I wonder who they like the best, maybe Life.
Well, I think one of the reasons why, oh boy, Kanada's at it again. Even Legend is like, no, I don't even think Hack's going to win.
That's actually what he looks like. He's like, nope, you're wrong.
I was gonna say, I think the reason why Legend was saying expected many male fans was because they have a female player on their team, Sammy. But
that timing was perfect.
That was perfect, man.
Now, ByuL, having lived in America for a very long time, not surprised that he picked this song. But regardless, talking about his ranking here, he is very strong overall. He does have that downwards purple arrow. That's very important to note, as he isn't playing as strongly these days. But overall, he was especially good in the last season, and he's shown great results over in America. And he came back to Korea and has shown pretty good results here in Pro League as well.
Yep. Just solid player. Having a loss, though, recently, and has not performed as strongly as he did in the past. And here's Hack. So you can see he's actually 1-1 as the wow. He's 1-1 here. He's only played in Pro League twice.
Yep, he still has a lot of
Mommy
time
Pig
to
and
show
Baby
here.
Pig is the name of this song, by the way, if you want to.
If you want to search that, maybe, if you're interested. Hack, I think I remember a game where he came out on Overgrowth, possibly, and played Mech. I'm not sure exactly who that was against, but he has shown strong Mech play in the past. If I'm not mistaking him with one of these other Terrans that hasn't come out many times before. But we could see that again here today against ByuL. The map is merry-go-round.
Yes, and, 3-player map. Let's find out which one of these two teams is going to take the lead.
Down here in the south, in the red, the Zerg player for CJ Entis, it is ByuL.
His ID means star in Korean. And his opponent to the top left, funny as this, on star tail Yoe, it's Hack. Which, to give you guys a little bit of history on this guy, because he's only played in Pro League twice, you guys might not recognize him as much. This guy actually initially started playing for a team called Zenex back in the GSTL. He actually all-killed, in I think his first ever televised match, he all-killed FX Open when I was sitting on that bench at that time. And
sorry.
It was pretty impressive play, so don't judge him for that. But he's been around in StarCraft 2 since the beginning. His ID actually comes from the Korean word for nuke, and at the time when his ID became Hack, he was actually using the ID Zenex Nuke for a while. It's the same player. He just changed it to Hack because all players were forced to use English IDs instead of Korean ones. And so he's been around in the scene since the very beginning. And to see someone like that from like the very beginning of StarCraft 2 in Korea still around today and still playing well and still being the starting player for StarTail here is quite incredible. This guy has a lot of experience. He's not as high profile as ByuL is right now.
No, of course not. But he's trying to show himself here. This is like one of his. He's played 2 games here, but he's trying to make a name for himself, trying to become one of these players that every time you mention his name, people are like, "Oh man, I gotta watch tonight." I gotta see this guy play. He wants to become a star.
Well, we do see Hatch first in the pool. Normal opening here for ByuL, and on the other side of things, the gas coming up. Barracks finishing. We're going to see a Reaper come out for Hack. Very normal opening on his side of things as well. Overlord actually shows himself, so he knows where ByuL is right away. He can just send his Reaper to the correct location. Doesn't even have to send that SUV down. He's just going to put that SUV to make the command center when it's time.
Yep. It was a great scout there with the SUV. Just a little extra time to scout to see if the Overlord was in position. Good knowledge by Hack to know the positioning of the Overlords certain times in the game. Did have that hatch first out of ByuL. Pool coming out here. No gas. And there's that SCV we were talking about to make the CC.
Keeping it very simple here, both of these players. Nothing out of the ordinary. Nothing like we saw yesterday, actually, in our Pro League matches where every game was something totally crazy. So, Reaper's going to come in here, going to try to force some spores, some spore cancels, get the scouting information on that gas. And in fact, with the Ling's already out here, of course, he's not going to be able to force a spore cancel. Almost impossible to do that. And he's just going to kite around, sees the gas is late, almost gets a drone, actually almost forces that spore cancel.
Yeah, really nice micro here by the Reaper, but he almost loses it there as he does look away for just a second. But he does save it in the end here. After that, he did go for a reactor first into factory, so he's going to start making Marines as well as going into that factory. Opens up a lot of different builds you can do on 2 bases here, namely aggressive Hellbat timings. Saw that the other day, and it didn't go so well. I think that was TY
versus
Departure.
Yep.
TY just executing that build very nicely.
And he's doing actually the same thing that TY did with the opening, albeit a little bit different because the Marines are a little bit more delayed. But he's actually going to go and check with these Marines to see if he can find the Overlord to kill it, to deny scouting. Unfortunately for him, it's been very carefully rerouted by ByuL because he expects the possibility of something like this. And he doesn't need to get that Overlord over there too quickly because he's already gotten a lot of information with his first Overlord. Meanwhile, back at home, we do have a starport coming up as well as a quick reactor here. But just regular Hellions, no armory, no second factory, no blue flame. So it looks like we're just going to see a straight-up Hellion drop, actually. Something we do not see all too often in, contemporary StarCraft 2 in this matchup.
Yeah. ByuL very smartly setting up a wall already. Just something to be safe. He's got 1 Evil Chamber, 1 Roach Warren, as well as 2 Queens to block the hole. And no Hellions can run by. Sometimes we see Zergs, I believe in the last couple days, we've just seen them let the Hellions in and just try to defend and take as little losses as possible, as to just drone up as much as possible, not throw down any buildings just yet, but very safe play here out of ByuL. The one thing this does not deny is the Reaper, actually. He does have the Lings in the main base as well as 1 Queen, but the Reaper was trying to come in there, maybe see the lair timing possibly. I'm not actually sure if he saw that, actually. He did get pretty close, but the lair was started basically right when that Reaper was jumping in.
I'm going to check that, actually. He did see that lair was on the way, yeah. Doesn't know exactly like how much longer it has, but he does know that it's coming. I completely misread this, by the way. It's good. The starport was next to the reactor and was actually just going to make its own add-on. It wasn't the barracks made a reactor so we can have more Marines, but normally the barracks makes the tech lab for the Banshees. But anyways, the starport made the add-on. He started Cloak, but actually canceled it, and is just going to make a siege tank instead after he scouts these roaches just for safety and use those gas resources on the siege tank instead. Roach speed is coming out here for ByuL, indicating he wants to actually commit to roaches. These are not defensive roaches. These are 2-base roaches. Coming out very early here to defend, I guess, him taking his 3rd base, but he wants to be aggressive because he's going up to 13 roaches in total. They are starting to move over towards that base, and that's why the siege tank and the Banshee actually are going to be very important here in the defense for Hack.
That they will. The very fast Hellions able to just drive over here and get the scout of exactly when that 3rd base is coming down, so just more information here for Hack. Setting up another bunker, like you were saying, just trying to be safe. Knows roaches are on the map, knows he delayed a long time from getting that 3rd base, and he does have that Roach Warren, so also scouting that lair. It's something you just got to be careful of.
You know what's interesting is instead of getting the +1 attack for the roaches, he just gets armor, which means that later on, if he just completely switches out of roaches, he still has that armor upgrade, which is going to be useful for all of his units, including his Lings and his Banelings. And this is a huge amount of roaches coming across the map. Meanwhile, the Banshee does come into the main base, starts to get some kills. Back at home, Hack already has 2 siege tanks and 2 bunkers, so these roaches are going to be met with high resistance when they arrive to this base.
And wow, 5 drone kills able to be gotten with that 1 Banshee rather. And here we go, roaches coming in. Overseer to actually lead up, possibly to see Widow Mines. No repair on the bunker, but those 2 tanks you were talking about, more than enough to defend there.
Now this Banshee actually swinging around to the right side here, helping defend these Hellions to try to deny mining at the 3rd. A very low drone count for ByuL, but he's adding that in now. He's finally getting up to about 51, going to be 59 to 60 as soon as this next wave of drones finishes. But his 3rd base wasn't mining. He's also creeping up this 3rd base location for Hack, making it more difficult for him to actually get down there and mine from 3 bases. He's got double upgrades on the way himself, so he'll actually get ahead as soon as those are both done, but for a while he'll be behind. +2 armor started immediately here for ByuL, as well as the Zergling speed, which he's going to need, as well as that Baneling Nest for safety.
He's getting all the techs at once. Getting the Spire about to finish here.
So, you know, not a lot of damage done, but a very delayed third base for... Oh, hold that thought. He's actually going to pick off very expensive siege tanks here.
Does lose a considerable amount of roaches, but picking off some tanks, always good. A couple on the high ground still left over, though.
But for Hack, he would have liked this third base to be down and landed for a while. He had to sit back and defend against the push. Not only that, but the creep also delayed his third CC from going down. It's still going to delay for a little bit longer. And so that makes up for the fact that ByuL had a late third, because now he has 3 bases up in mining. He does have 6 gases first, and is going to be able to get those extra resources to now make Mutalisk and to get the melee upgrades for his units. So I think I really like this armor for the Roaches rather than the attack. Just gives them a little bit more strength, and then it just gives you that flexibility to transition.
Yeah, pretty cool. Armory finally coming up here. It's going to be pretty synced up there with the 1-1 finishing up, so he can go straight into 2-2. Of course, can go for some mech upgrades, possibly if he wants to keep his Widow Mines and tanks a bit buffed as well. We've seen that a lot more often these days out of Terrans. A couple of Widow Mines, or rather Mutalisks, out on the map here, going to make things hard for the Banshee. Are they going to be able to get one? They do, without even losing a Mutalisk. So pretty nice snipe there, one of the Banshees.
Yep. And here's a big scan on these tumors, eliminating a lot of those. He actually tried to push them back earlier. ByuL canceled, but now those are permanently dead. And he's got an army over here that's supported by those siege tanks still, even though he lost one earlier. It's a very, very tough army to engage off creep, but he doesn't want to get too far onto the creep. Basically, this pressure is trying to set up an engagement to where maybe he could start fighting at the 4th base, but he doesn't want ByuL's creep spread to get out of control, so he has to do little pokes like this. However, Mutalisk coming into the natural and Lings to the 3rd. He knows the army was out of position, and he's going to capitalize on that. A lot of damage is going to be done here, but keep in mind, Hack's army is still on the other side of the map. He's going to be able to kill his base, I feel, because there's not much home to defend this.
Yeah, what has he got here? Absolutely nothing. He's got a queen. There's not even any banelings over here. He needs to get them over in time. He's trying to morph some right next to it. That 3rd base is in a lot of danger. He's got the tanks in the back trying to snipe down some banelings. Gets a decent hit there.
Yep, that Mutalisk is pretty brave to engage those Marines like that, and with those Widow Mines supporting the siege tank as well as this bio, he's definitely going to need to bring those Mutalisks back to deal with this, and so he does, and we'll clean this up pretty nicely. I feel like ByuL definitely got the better end of this because he got a lot of damage done. However, if he loses his 4th base for it, I think that you could actually say things kind of even up here, as he's going to have to remake that. It's going to cost him a lot of time. This dropship, will he save it? No.
No. Way too many Mutalisks out already. Would love to see a number on that, actually. There we have it, the 15. We got another drop coming in at the 3rd base, but again, just way too many units just waiting for that drop to come in.
Yeah, with the defense on the Banelings there, Hack can now be comfortable with his 3 bases. He's going to come over here and scan the left side of the creep now. So he's pushing both sides back to the best of his ability. Here comes some Banelings again. Oh, no, 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 no. It's going to be so many kills.
Oh, God.
Oh,
19 SCVs going down. Perfect timing out of ByuL to roll those in right when the SCVs are transferring. And that is a huge amount of damage. Hack going down to 55 SCVs.
What was that, 5, 6 Banelings there only?
Something like that, yeah.
Barely any Banelings spent for that. That's some of the best cost-efficient harassers you can ever have. You know, minus a storm drop, I think it probably is. So that was a ton of damage there. And, uh-oh.
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 Okay.
All right.
Well, CJ Antis is dropping from the game. Of course, that is ByuL.
Yes, and the referee was called over immediately, and hopefully this wasn't a crash, but I think there's a very high chance that it was. So we'll probably have to have a regame, or rather a remake, and host that replay and resume, just like we did before.
Yeah.
So instead of just speculating on what's happened, let's talk about the state of the game we're in right now. Oh, I actually can't switch tabs on my keyboard or my mouse because of that lag screen, but 2-2 is about to finish right now for Hack, and +2 is just now being started for the attack upgrade for ByuL. He already has a +2 armor, though, from earlier. The plating that you were talking about for the Widow Mines and the Medevacs is also finished up here as well, He's got a solid amount of Marauder production. The big issue is the SCVs that he lost.
Yeah, he lost all those SCVs. In the meantime, with that aggression, ByuL is beginning to really secure his own bases. He's got 2 bases coming up at the same time at the 4th and 5th bases. He's just really taking control of this game. He shut down pretty much all the harass except that one drop that did take out his 4th base. And he's, pretty even on the upgrades as well. So,
well, there was a drop before I leave this game. Worker count 78 to 60, 21 Mutalisks on the map, and 16 Banes, and a solid amount of creep spread about halfway through the map. So a very solid defensive position right now for ByuL. He can continue to get those upgrades up. It's really on Hack now to make the next move, and to be aggressive to sort of make up for the fact that he just lost all those SCVs. And when you lose a bunch of SCVs at your 3rd base to Baneling harass, or a big blow up on a planetary, for example, usually you can capitalize on it because okay, you just used 20, 25 Banelings, now you don't have those to defend.
Yeah.
But when you could do it so efficiently with only 5 Banes, ByuL's like,
you're eliminating almost all the mining at that base, even the gas SCVs as well, which is important, So all that gas that he's spending, all the minerals that he's spending on the Banelings, he's essentially taking that away from Hack for a very long time.
Yeah, and for only 5 Banes. This is not like there's a counterattack timing that gets opened up here where he could say, okay, well now before you make your next wave of Banelings,
it's not like 30 Banelings rolled in and like half of them got killed before blown into some SCVs.
Exactly. This is a very efficient amount of harassment damage. So with the creep spread, it's going to be tough for Hack. There's also, like we were talking about before, 21 Mutalisks on the map, so dropping becomes very difficult to do. He's only got a few Widow Mines out on the map either at this point.
Yeah, I think it was like
4.
5.
Yeah, 4 or 5. So going to be a tough spot. He does have a solid Bioforce, and he's added a lot of Marauders into the mix as well. So,
but so far, I would say ByuL has a slight advantage in this game. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would completely agree.
Yeah.
And all of this, by the way, started out with just a little bit of Roach aggression that didn't really do damage, but he was still able to transition with those Roaches, defend his bases so well, defending against the Hellion Harass as well as the Banshees so well that he's actually, taking quite a lead here.
Yeah. Really liking ByuL's play so far. He doesn't really look like he's on a slump. I feel like he's pretty much, had a plan throughout the game. And he hasn't made too many mistakes, really. I guess you can call losing that 4th base a slight mistake, not having some units over there to defend early enough because he was so focused on 3rd base. But that was more so like Hack pulling his opponent apart and trying to drop in 2 places at the same time. So you can't really blame him for that. He's looking pretty good here and pretty solid. Not nervous play.
No.
So really happy for ByuL.
Well, nobody has actually rejoined the lobby, so this means that most likely there's referees talking to players right now, and that's what's happening before joining the lobby. And there's a very high chance that the PC was rebooted and or switched for ByuL because he was the player that dropped. There is the Pro League account for CJ Entis online and in the channel, so I think if they rebooted, they've already gotten back into that channel by now.
These are the problems, actually. The problems with computers where they have to switch out whole computers and bring them back in, plug everything in and do that. Those are the ones that actually create the biggest downtime. So, sorry, you guys. We just got to deal with it.
Just to give you guys like a little bit of information about hotkeys, for example, because I get a lot of questions about this on Twitter. The hotkeys of a player in Pro League actually have to be redone every single time the player plays, which is different from the individual league. So in Pro League, every player uses the same account that's associated with a team. So that means that every time you log in, you actually have to change your hotkeys. However, in individual leagues, you have an account that's associated with your name. So when you log into it and then you play in the next round, the next week, for example, or the next month, you actually have those same hotkeys there. That's why we have a lot more hotkey problems in this type of setup than actually in the individual leagues.
Team league problems, man. It's hard to get all those different players, especially in ace matches. You go up to 5 players. It's kind of annoying. Or I guess you can go like sometimes 4, but at most 5.
And so because all the account is shared with all the players, what happens is when you're warming up, you're not using that account because you're sitting next to somebody else. So you're actually like already using your hotkeys, and you might forget. What happens is when you're now logged into the account, you have to change everything again. So you might actually forget, and then that causes a whole new plethora of problems. And that's why we had that pause earlier with Shine, for example. At least that's what I think happened. I mean, it's just a common occurrence, especially when we haven't had that many Pro League matches recently, and players aren't as accustomed to having this sort of thing happen. So players are now in the replay, which is going to take actually quite a bit of time to resume as well. So we can.
Yeah, I think we're going into 16:10.
Yep.
So could be a little bit while we load up this replay.
Yeah, it takes quite some time to seek through that. There was something else I wanted to talk about regarding this sort of thing. I can't remember now what it was.
The vehicle of esports.
Something like that. What was it I wanted to say? Well, it would probably come to me if it's important. Speaking of people who tweet at me and ask me questions a lot, there's a ton of questions I know about the VODs on Twitch, and I know that they're not working properly right now. People are aware of that issue. It's being resolved. It hasn't been fixed yet. However, all of the VODs are on EsportsTV on YouTube, and if you are worried about spoilers, if you're worried about going to that YouTube channel because you can see how many sets there are, you can see if there's an ace match or not on the right side, I recommend going to the small SC2 VOD thread on Team Liquid. All of the VODs for tons of tournaments, not even just this one, are there. I've posted this on Reddit before. I've tweeted about this. You should be able to find it. There's a whole section designated to SSL VODs. They're spoiler-free. Everything is really solid there. I think it's very well organized, thanks to Learning, for example, who actually updates these regularly, and some of the other people on TL who actually manage that stuff, make sure everything is working properly and whatnot. So just go look that up. Go to the SC2 small VOD thread. They've got SSL, they've got SPL, they've got GSL. They have your qualifier broadcast that you did with Moonglade. Go in there. It's a spoiler-free. I know there's spoiler-free StarCraft on Reddit as well, another place you can find VODs. I know there's SC2 Cast, a website where you guys can find VODs. They're out there.
There's like a million different places, and we still get like a million questions about this. So many threads about it as well.
I really want to reply to all of you guys, but I'm just trying to tell you right now.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this, make a note. Check these resources out because people and volunteers put a lot of really hard work into actually organizing all these VOD sites and these threads that have great spoiler-free StarCraft. So, I have to leave the game. So.
Remaking the room here, so a little bit more delays as we get into this.
But just like to close out this slot, do you not feel like you have to watch straight up on the YouTube channel because there's so many resources out there that prevent the spoilers, that prevent the sidebar that shows you whether there's an ace match or not, and there's even some out there that actually hide the time on the bottom of the YouTube, so you don't even know how long the game time is. Just find the site that you like the most to watch the VODs on, but they're all out there. They're all on the esports channel. I know the Twitch issue is something that is being resolved right now. It's being worked on right now, but the YouTube channel is there. It's free. You don't need a subscription or anything like that. You can watch them. Anyone can watch it. Share it with your friends.
Yeah, definitely. That's the most important part because there are a bunch of people that are not watching right now that won't know. They're going to try to find VODs of this cast, and they're going to be like, where can I watch it? I don't know. You got to tell those people.
Yeah, tell them. Make posts about it and, discuss it because it's a great tournament. Yeah. And not everybody can actually stay up really late for, some regions to actually watch this. So, spread the word. Get that VOD stuff out there for people. Okay, so the replay is being recovered now. It looks like that replay that we were all in before was just to make sure the replay wasn't corrupted or something. Or perhaps they loaded it into the wrong feature.
Possibly, but we are recovering, and it's going pretty fast. So
yeah, it's actually going
stay
much
tuned,
faster
guys.
than I thought.
We're going to get right back into this. You may have a time to, grab a soda, run downstairs, grab a water or something, and come back. Maybe don't run because your parents might be asleep.
Yeah.
But still have an opportunity here at least.
There's a shot of Legend again here, by the way, as well as Leon.
You're still saying no, there's no way Hack.
No, Hack's behind, yeah, absolutely. Can't believe Kanat thinks he's going to win. Prediction, something that we have back here in Pro League, by the way.
I was surprised we didn't get it actually for the first half. Just slowly ramping things up here, but I'm happy at least that we got him now.
Yeah. Moonglade, of course, will be involved in this as well, even though he wasn't listed today. He's traveling right now and wasn't able to submit his predictions quickly enough. So, but he will be involved in all of them and will be in all, of course, future Pro League casts as well. The three of us going to be all rotating around, doing a lot of commentary coming up in the future. So I know I've been getting a lot of tweets about that too. He's going to be casting Pro League, guys. Just wait.
Yeah.
And looks like these two players are just getting a shot of them here. They look like they're just warming up, getting their hands ready. They've got, of course, to remember where we're at in this game. A lot of SCV damage done here to Hack, and now Hack needs to put on the pressure with his ByuL.
So the repeat has been recovered. We are now paused. We should get started on this game as soon as the players are ready.
And in fact, they say they are ready. So, go has been written in the chat. The referee says we are going to start. 3, 2, 1, resumed. All right, let's jump back into it.
So, as we were talking to you guys a little bit about it before, at the end of that replay, ByuL has just done a considerable amount of damage at that third base with his Banelings. Only about 5. He's killed like 20 SCVs, and now he's going on the aggressive stance here, actually. He's just going for it. He's trying to roll in here and get some nice shots. A lot of the Banelings blowing up on Marauders, though, but he's got a ton of army.
He does. He's got a lot of mutalisks, as we were talking about before. And with this many, he can actually just fight straight up, pick off medevacs. Great micro here by Hack. That medevac goes full of Marines. Needs to be careful with that. If ByuL had known, he would have absolutely targeted that one down. Oh, is he going to get it? Nope, just fighting the Marines on the ground one by one. He's going to get it slowly, I guess you could argue. And
he just
Hack
has an overwhelming amount of units. This is so funny to just jump right back into this and see this destruction. GG. CJ Antis and ByuL has taken game number 1. I just feel like with that momentum he had right before the game actually crashed, he was able to just, once we got back into it, just go ahead and basically 1A, target his Banelings on good units. But he just had so many mutas for the finish as well.
Yeah, like what we didn't actually know was that we were watching an execution and the game stopped right before the axe cut the head off, and then we're like, okay, play, and then his head got cut off, and then now CJ takes the lead. But very well played by ByuL. I really like the Roach opening with the armor. So much flexibility with that. And then, you know, just took an early lead, killed all those SCVs, and then, you know, it was up to Hack to start harassing, but when he moved out on the map, ByuL was ready. He actually trapped him in the middle of the map, far out there. He had way too many speedlings for Hack to handle, and Hack just fell apart, lost all those units, and just got rolled over, man. We just saw him drop in supply like so fast.
Yeah. He looks pretty solid overall, though. I have to say ByuL is probably the better player today in this match, but this guy does show some potential. He's shown good games in the past as well, and I'm looking forward to seeing him again.
As am I. Well, you can see the CJ team all huddled together here, getting prepped up for game number 2. That was very well played by ByuL. Definitely had a shaky first match that we saw from him last week, but today, absolutely redeeming himself. Talking to Hush there. As you can see, we talked about that earlier, actually, the relationship between those two.
Yeah. Speaking of CJ players that had a shaky opening, Hero was also one of them. He went down to Deer in his first match, and he's going to be up next against Curious in a PvZ. So stay tuned for that one. You guys do see it there on the bottom of your screen.
Yeah. We're actually going to get into that right away, I believe. Both players have had ample time to get ready and prepare, especially with that little bit of downtime. Well, Hero, definitely the favorite going to this. He did look a bit nervous. He did look a bit shaky and off in his match against Deer. However, today, you know, he's gone through, you know, a little bit of extra preparation. And Curious himself has also been having a bit of a tough time.